Today's topic is determination of angle of wedge or determination of the diameter of a wire. Angle of a wedge or diameter of a wire. Wedge shape means V shape. Wedge shape means V shape. So here this is the angle of the wedge. This is the angle of the. So very small angles are the diameter of a very thick wire is determined by using this interference method. That means here the principle of interference is used. To determine the diameter of a very thin wire, the screw gauge or a microscope is also not suitable because their least count is the size of the diameter is less than the least count of the instrument. Then we can't measure the diameter either by using a screw gauge or by using a microscope. For such a case, we have to use this interference principle to determine the diameter of a wire. So, this is a case of interference by division of amplitude. This is a case of interference by division of amplitude. That means here we will get interference fringes by the method of division of amplitude. The amplitude of the incident ray is divided into two equal parts. First part is reflected at the top of the edge film because in between these two glass plates the gap is filled with air. So the upper surface of the air reflects one part of the ray incident and the remaining part is transmitted downwards and then reflected by the glass plate. These two rays will interfere and will produce either a dark fringe or a bright fringe along a straight plane of thickness, say Tn. Here the thickness is Tn. Similarly, here also we will get a bright fringe or a dark fringe depending upon the path reference. Depending upon the path reference. So, let us consider the case of nth bright fringe and nth bright fringe. Nth bright fringe, nth bright fringe and nth bright fringe. For nth bright fringe, for the interference condition is given by 2 mu Tn cos r plus lambda by 2 is equal to n lambda. This is from the cosine law and this is from Stokes law. We have to add Stokes sectional path reference because of the reflection at the denser medium. We have to add Stokes sectional path reference because of the reflection at the denser medium. So here the condition for constructed interference is given by 2 mu Tn. Tn is the thickness at nth bright fringe. 2 mu T cos R plus lambda by 2 is equal to L lambda. For normal incidence, R is equal to 0 implies cos R is equal to 1. For A, mu is equal to 1. Therefore, we can write this condition as 2Tn plus lambda by 2 is equal to L lambda. Similarly, at this point, 2Tm plus lambda by 2 is equal to M lambda. Why? Because for normal incidence, the angle of incidence is 0. That means cos R is equal to 1. Again, for A, mu is equal to 1. So, the condition for constructed interference is reduced as 2Tm is equal to M lambda and 2Tm plus lambda by 2 is equal to M lambda. By subtracting these two, we will get 2 into Tm minus Tn is equal to M minus N into lambda. So here Tn is the thickness of the edge at the nth bright fringe. Tm is the thickness of the edge at this point. So Tm minus Tn is nothing but this distance. This distance is nothing but Tn minus Tm. So tan theta is equal to this distance by this distance. That means Tn minus Tm by beta into n minus n. The distance between m and n is equal to beta into n minus n. Why? Because there are n minus n fringes in between these 2 points. There are n minus n fringes in between these 2 points. The width of each fringe is equal to beta. The width of each fringe is equal to beta. Then the distance between these 2 points is given by beta into m minus n. Beta into n minus m. So we can write tan theta is equal to Tn minus Tm, this distance, divided by beta into n minus m. Also, from this triangle, here, this is the y, its diameter is d, this is the length of the glass plate. So, tan theta is also d by l, where d is the diameter and l is the length. Therefore, we can compare these 2 equations. We can write d by l is equal to Tn minus Tm by beta into n minus m. Therefore, Tn minus Tm is equal to d by l into beta into n minus m. D is equal to 2 into Tn minus Tm by beta into n minus m into l. Diameter of the wire is equal to 2 into Tn minus Tm into L divided by beta into n minus m. So, if you can determine the value of beta by using a microscope, knowing the value of L and the diameter of the wire, we can find either d or theta. Either d or theta. So, this is the principle of wedge method or this is the method in which we can determine the angle of the wedge. We are going to discuss about the Newton rings. In this class, we are going to discuss about Newton's rings. Newton's rings. So, when a plano convex lens is placed on a plane glass plate, when a plano convex lens is placed on a plane glass plate, then there is an air film between the glass plate and the lens whose thickness is 0 at the point of contact and increasing progressively towards the edge. The thickness of the air will increase progressively towards the edge. This is a case of interference by division of amplitude. In this, the interference fringes are formed like rings. In the previous case, that is in wedge-shaped method, we get fringes. Fringes means straight lines. But here we will get rings. This is because the air film with uniform thickness in between these two is in circular shape. The air film with equal thickness in between these two, that is glass plate and the plano convex lens, is having a circular shape. So, we will get interference pattern as circular rings. These rings are called Newton's rings. Newton's rings. Here also, amplitude division takes place. When a ray of light, monochromatic light, incident on it normally, a part of the ray is reflected by the upper side of the air film and the remaining part is reflected by the glass plate and the remaining part is reflected by the glass plate. So, like this, on both sides, we will get the same condition because the thickness of the air film is the same at this point as well as at this point. So, the condition for constructive interference is given by 2 mu t cos r plus lambda by 2 is equal to L lambda. Then, the air film with thickness T, which is in circular shape, becomes bright. That is, we will get a bright ring. Or otherwise, if it fulfills, or at another point, if the thickness fulfills the condition for dark fringe, there it appears a dark ring. So, we will get alternate bright and dark rings instead of fringes. The condition for bright ring is 2 mu t cos r plus lambda by 2 is equal to n lambda. For A mu is equal to 1, for normal incidence R is equal to 0. So the condition can be written as 2t plus lambda by 2 is equal to n lambda. 2t plus lambda by 2 is equal to n lambda. This is the condition for bright ring. This is the condition for bright ring. Similarly, here the lambda by 2 is Stokes path reference. That is the additional path reference introduced due to the reflection of the ray at denser medium. We have to introduce an additional path reference of lambda by 2 because one ray is reflected at the denser medium. Denser medium. So this is the condition for bright ring and this is the condition for dark ring. So by geometry, the plano-convex lens is nothing but a portion of the sphere. Its radius is capital R and the thickness of the air film at which we are observing the ring is T. Let it be T. Then this is also T and the remaining part is R minus T. So R minus T whole square plus small r square will give R is equal to R square. Here small r is the radius of the ring, whether it is a bright ring or dark ring, depending upon the condition. So small r is the distance from the center point to the edge of the ring. So it is nothing but the radius of the ring, and T is the thickness of the air film. And R is the radius of curvature of the lens. It is nothing but the radius of the sphere, whose path is deemed to be treated as the plano-convex lens. Therefore, R square is equal to 2R, or T is equal to R square by 2R. Here small r is the radius of the ring and capital R is the radius of curvature of the lens. So, substituting this value for bright ring, we will get 2 into small r square by 2 capital R is equal to 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2. R square is equal to 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2 into R. Since R is equal to d by 2, we can write this as d square by 4 is equal to 2n minus 1 into lambda r by 2. This means d is proportional to 2n minus 1. D is proportional to dn minus 1 because this is a constant factor. Similarly, if we consider the condition for dark ring, that is 2 into small r square by 2r is equal to n lambda, instead of 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2, we have to write here as n lambda for a dark ring. Then we will get on the same line d is proportional to square root of n. So, in the case of bright ring, the diameter of the ring is proportional to square root of 2n minus 1. And for dark ring, the diameter is proportional to square root of n. This is the case of Newton rings in reflected light. We can also observe these Newton rings in transmitted light. We can also observe these Newton rings with transmitted light. But the only difference here is we need not Consider the Stokes-Liouville path difference because both the rays are reflected at rarer medium. No ray is reflected at denser medium. So, in case of transmitted light and reflected light, the conditions for bright fringe and dark fringe are interchanged. That is the only difference. So, in this way, we can observe Newton's rings in our laboratory, and also by doing an experiment with Newton rings, we can determine the value of the wavelength of a monochromatic light. Because as we derived, d square n is equal to 4m into lambda r for nth bright fringe. Similarly, for n plus pth ring, we can write d square n plus p is equal to 4 of n plus p into lambda r. Here, for nth ring, d square is equal to 4n into lambda r. But here, for n plus p th ring, it is 4 into n plus p into lambda r. So, lambda is equal to d square n plus p minus d square n divided by 4 pr. Like by using this formula, we can determine the wavelength because the radius of curvature of the planar convex lens is determined with the help of a speedometer by using the formula L square by 6h plus h by 2. Similarly, dn and dn plus p are determined by using a microscope. P is the difference between nth fringe and n plus pth fringe. That means there are p number of fringes, rings in between these two. So that number also we can determine because instead of n, let it be treated as 60 and n plus b, if it is 25, then the difference between these two is p, which is nothing but 25 minus 16 is equal to 9. So instead of p, we have to write it as 9. So, since all the terms on the right hand side are known, we can determine the value of lambda. So, in our laboratory, we can arrange this type of arrangement to get Newton rings. In that, sodium light is used. For normal instance, a glass plate is placed along the path at 45 degrees. Then we will get normal rays. The reflected rays are focused to the micrometers eyepiece, in which we can observe the Newton rings. By determining the values of the diameter of for a 25th ring and the diameter of the 16th ring, we can find the value of lambda. If a graph is drawn between the number of rings and the square of the diameter, we will get the number of rings and d square. We will get a straight line. With the help of this graph, we can find the diameter of any ring even though they are not clearly visible in our microscope. Their values are also determined by using this graph. In this way, in our laboratory, we can find either lambda, or if lambda is given, we can determine the radius of curvature of the lens. And also, if we place a liquid in between the glass plate and the lens, then we can determine the value of the refractive index of the liquid by using the formula dm square minus dn square divided by d dash square m minus d dash square n. Mu is equal to d square m minus d square n by mu is equal to d square m minus d square n divided by d dash square m minus d dash square n. Here d square m and dm and dn are the diameters of the mth and nth bright fringes. In A, if we place or if we introduce a liquid, then there is a change in the diameter. The respective diameters values are to be taken as d dash square m, that means d dash m and d dash n. By using this formula, we can determine the refractive index of the liquid, which is placed in between the glass plate and the lens. By this topic is completed. Tomorrow or in the next class, we will continue this with Michelson